One of the main selling points of the Switch is playing it however you like. It really is a modern, almost futuristic experience to be able to hold such a thin system that can fluently run games as big and beautiful as Super Mario Odyssey, Kirby Star Allies, and Breath of the Wild. It really is unique, and doing so in any way I want is conceptually cool. Nintendo is still not very up to date when it comes to control methods, and it doesn't seem like they're planning to catch up anytime soon. See, in most games you're free to bind actions to certain keys or vice versa, choosing what each key does out of a list of options. This gives the player a lot of versatility in approaching the game and can improve overall accessibility for people overall. Say I have some medical issue with my right thumb and I shouldn't make fast precise moves with it. I can bind all of Spectre Knight's moves to work with the back buttons, and they work just fine. It actually kind of grew on me to play with this control method just for this demonstration, and like jumping and slicing with the button inputs instead of the 4 main buttons A, B, X, Y. Mega Man 11's demo comes with 2 of its actions completely unbound, but I really enjoyed my decision to buy its slide and rapid fire to right and left respectively. It felt very snappy and it was weird using the traditional Mega Buster later. I almost exclusively used R to rapid shot. Allowing players to change their controls is key to having it a more accessible and enjoyable experience, as some players, whom I'll never understand, even prefer stuff like reverse camera control in games, and that's one thing that actually does exist in almost every game, so that's nice. But then Nintendo kind of forgets the rest. Instead of giving players true control over their button layouts, they much rather insist on set patterns you can select between, if any. You can either play in Idiot Default mode in Kirby, or Normal Human Being mode, you know, jumping with the B. You can either use the top button to jump, or actually enjoy Zelda Breath of the Wild. I don't know if this is a common thing, but for me, if I can't use the bottom button of these 4 to jump, why bother? Mario Tennis Aces and Arms break this tradition in order to be more geared for competitive play, but I still don't understand why Mario Odyssey and Splatoon force us to use their specific inputs for stuff like swimming in ink or center camera with both L and R. I think the biggest degeneracy we've seen from Nintendo lately is making a Joy-Con variant bundle for Smash Ultimate. Like, besides the fact that the design is a massive pile of MS Paint, I mean, just take this in for a second. I will never recommend playing Smash with the Joy-Cons. They will never deliver that instant experience Smash requires. Yes, it's not impossible or even generally that bad to play fast-paced games with them, but Smash isn't just pressing buttons quickly and reacting. You press buttons hard. When I play Smash, my fingers aren't like hovering over the attack button. They snap between A, B, and the C stick, and when I need to press something, I warp my finger to it. I don't expect to do it when I need to change directions, dash dance, move, jump, roll, shield, drop down a platform, and I don't even want to touch wave dashing. I snap this joystick. It is not a smooth movement. I'm trying to perform everything perfectly while constantly making up a new plan. That's how Smash works. It's super reactive. And Joy-Cons can't handle that. Just listen to their pain when they pretend dash dance. Sorrow. Plain sorrow. So bundling a Switch with them is just the key to nothing but pain. I can't recommend a Pro Controller enough if you're gonna try Ultimate. Seriously, I've been playing Melee with it. It's good. If you wanna watch my Melee review I did recently. Okay. But then, even the Pro Controller isn't enough for Nintendo's controller issues. Welcome to the shiniest issue so far, 2-player restrictions. We all know about the Mario Odyssey issues where some features of the hat throw are limited to shaking the controller, and this is silly enough by itself. But what if I told you this carries over to 2-player? Even though Mario Odyssey only utilizes half a controller, by making every button have an identically functioning button right next to it, I mean, jump, jump, throw, throw, ground pound, they all work the same. But that means, hey, so if I cut down the controller in half, I can still play, right? You can't. You can't play single-player Mario Odyssey with 1 Joy-Con. All the buttons are there, you just can't use them. And when you are in 2-player mode, unless you use full controllers, aka 2 control sticks per player, you have all the limitations of a Pro Controller. You can't throw the head down, you can't shake to the proper direction mid-air. It's a mess. It's a plain mess. And the worst offender is, sadly, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, a game that I like more than any other I have mentioned thus far. And thus, here is my only true criticism of it. The controls, when digging into them deep, are hell. In TV or tabletop mode, you can only use a full button controller and you have to use a gyroscope as your pointer to interact with the world. The Joy-Cons do a really good solid job of it, but their inferior button layout and size are less desirable in TV mode, and thus the alternative, the Pro Controller, suffers from poor accuracy and a heavier feel to the pointer. It's very quick and snappy to reset the pointer and there just move it instantly to where you want it to be, but this is a minor bump, but it still exists. The next issue in TV mode is buttons. According to the manual, or the box art, or the menu, or the control screen, really, wow, this game likes showing you how to play it. If you actually enhance the secret, hidden, grayed out techniques, you can actually see that A is supposed to be used to pick things up, and holding it to sprint. Y only, secretly, turns the headlamp on and off, which is mostly used in dark levels or to reveal hidden, invisible coins. But look at that, for some magical reason, both A and Y can be held down to sprint and pick up items. And even the B button, which for all the game lets you know has no effect, acts the same. Another nitpick can be the D-pad being used for the camera instead of perhaps precise movement, but we have a bigger problem to approach: handheld mode. For some godforsaken reason, instead of just, I don't know, leaving ZR alone, which was previously used for the virtual pointer, instead, in handheld play, it doubles as, oh, yep, another sprint button. Not dumb enough? The handheld mode is gyroscopic camera control. Yep, you can tilt the system to look around. This is horribly unusable, I don't get it, help. One cool thing with it is that if you spin the system around, it's like a perfectly calibrated gyroscopic diorama. It's like, okay, I guess it's kinda nice to see, I don't know. I don't get why the very toggle is disabled in other play modes. It's only in handheld and it's not even that good in that one. It's so meaningless either way, and don't forget, for some even more forsaken of a god reason, in handheld mode, if you hold down ZR, also known as the 4th A button, it temporarily disables gyro. Why? Why on earth was this implemented? No other interact button disables gyro. CR doesn't have this effect during other modes. Why was this coded into the game? It's so weird and specific and bad. And finally, to murder me from all angles, 2-player mode. For some reason, the game is dead focused on making sure the left Joy-Con is used for movement and the right is for aiming in player 2. This is horrible. The left Joy-Con already has enough hardware faults, but besides this very, very odd anti-left-handed policy, you can't even use any other controllers in 2-player. Only 2 Joy-Cons total. You can't even turn on the Pro Controller to have it connected. I go to the menu, I connect it, I go back to the game, it turns off. The controller gets desynced. Why? Also, there is a second-long delay to the mode switching of 1-player and 2-player. So if you turn off your controller, one, before connecting the 2 others, or vice versa, the game will detect missing controllers and force you to reconnect the method you plan to switch from, only to reconnect the new mode right after. How does that even happen? How do you do that? Weird thing about co-op is that for seemingly no reason, if you fire a turnip and then turn the camera around, the turnip will fly absurdly faster. No explanation, no reason, but it couldn't have been coded accidentally. Why? Why can't things just be versatile, Nintendo? If a player has choices, they have the intelligence to notice if their own choice wasn't good and revert. I understand developer intentions, but forcing players to turn off controllers, not tell them about existing buttons, it's
just bad fucking design. It's bad design in any game. Don't ever.
Captain Toad Treasure Tracker for the Nintendo Switch system.
You don't get a get out of jail free card. You gotta roll 3 times.
Captain Toad is a thing of beauty. It's rare and great to see games come out in this day and age and require no updates or patches. I popped the card in and it just played the complete game. Like Mario World, like Kirby's Adventure, like Mario 64. All those games came out once and that's it. Those games couldn't get fixed if they had final issues, but they were proud full projects. I don't know if the Toad team are willing to sacrifice this honored thing of, well, being a modern, super complete, very polished game, but there it is. Seeing Super Mario Party doesn't allow Pro Controller use at all. Hearing GameCube controllers don't work for every game. And Nintendo convincing players to play Smash with Joy-Cons. It's hard for me to believe that this will be fixed anytime soon. Thanks for watching. I hate to be chat. Good night.